modern astronomical science.
Thank you, Giles. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And October the 14th. Do I have a volunteer for the prayer of today? So given all the facts that we are facing right now and sad facts and events happening, I would like a volunteer to pray for peace on earth. Go ahead, please, Giles.
Well, I don't see a text. Am I to
There's no
invent one?
text. It's just, out of your heart.
Oh, that's easy. Bless you, Lord God. Thank you for all of your work as the Great Spirit and this marvelous, amazing universe that we live in. Bless you and thank you for this beautiful day and lovely weather. Bless you and thank you once again for this body, being in this body again today. I hope I can learn the lessons that I'm supposed to learn from it. Great Spirit, bless you and thank you for all of the goodies, food in the fridge, power in the lines, and a car sitting outside even. Lots of goodies. Bless you and thank you for no drinking. Bless you and thank you for no fear and no pain. And bless you and thank you for all those whose love I receive. That's it.
So be it. So thank you, Giles. I also want to be thankful for enjoying something that we take for granted and we have no idea, at least I don't, how blessed we are to wake up in the morning and just think about the trivial things in my day and not think about my safety, not think about whether I will survive this day. So right now we have countries in war, and for those folks, it must be something terrifying. So we ask the spirits to protect them and to enlighten the mind of their leaders so they come to reason and establish the peace despite their conflicts, despite different opinions. So we just ask the spirits to influence those leaders so they think about the communities they have under their responsibility. And they choose the best way, the best path for those under their responsibilities. So be it. So guys, anyway, the messengers is gonna be, not the messengers, the Missionary of the Light is gonna be the next book we'll be discussing. The photo contest is still in progress. So today I would like to talk about something because, look, since we started reading this book, we have seen a lot of, almost all the divine laws or the moral laws in the book number 3 of the Spirit's book. And we almost finished Law of Liberty. So we just have justice and moral perfection ahead of us. So, but given the fact that, you know, the reality we are facing right now, all the things going on in the world, and given the fact that we have seen so many teachings from these previous laws, I'd like to propose a little bit of a discussion today. But so we start a discussion. I'd like to ask a few questions, and then we'll go from there, you know, listening everybody's opinion. So the first one is freedom in human relationships is always relative because what? Freedom in human relationships is always relative because, for what reason you think?
Well, it depends upon to whom we're born and where we're born, and there are lots of conditions. You know, maybe I was born into a wealthy family and only go to private schools, so my relationships would only be with other privileged people, or the opposite, you know, that I'm in a very poor family and maybe a remote setting and I have no education at all.
Mm-hmm.
That would impact, I would say, human relationships, the freedom. That question. Freedom in human relationships is oftentimes determined by physical and human structures and conditions.
Yeah. Agree. Anyone else?
It's something I had been thinking about really, is this in Muslim countries where women have to be veiled. And I mean, that is the system and their culture. But foreigners go in and say, no, they shouldn't. They should be like us. They shouldn't have to wear a veil, and they shouldn't, and they shouldn't, and they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just saying that, you know, that this protests and so on go on publicly and openly, I don't think it helps the cause, because that in that culture, to do that, you are inviting a tightening rather than a lessening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking that with this girl in Iran, for example, now there's a big thing here in Vienna.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that, because it's the same as Indonesia, if you do this, it's losing face, and then they will do anything that make the situation worse rather than better, because, you know, confrontation is not what some countries are. So that freedom is, I think, relative.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, confrontation is
It
better
is
than
necessary in the human condition that we have restrictions, and that starting with the growth of the fetus, and then birth, and then every single thing that happens after that, there are restrictions. So human relationships are always relative because of restrictions, which is part of incarnation. Now, do we have restrictions in the afterlife? Well, there's a nice thing that I just put in the chat.
what restrictions you talk about?
If God is omnipotent, why does he allow evil to exist?
Oh, no,
Because evil exists because we have free will. And then the crowd says, is there evil in heaven? Of course not, says Jesus. So the crowd says, is there free will in heaven? Sorry, this is a note of humor. I am not trying to be serious here, okay?
Yes, I'm glad to hear that, Judge, because you know, it's a different dimension. And
Well, of
we keep
course, and it's worth remembering that Christians started putting the veils on their women in the Turkish Empire, which is where the Muslims got it from. The Christians had done that for 200 years before the Muslims started up.
Women in the Old Testament were veiled.
What's that got to do with reality?
But it's not to do with Muslims.
No, it's not to do with Muslims. It's Christians who forced their women to be veiled.
No, the Jewish tradition was veils from the beginning.
Okay,
They were
well,
always veiled.
that's 3,000 years ago.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So Gloria,
Okay.
Yep.
thank you. guys.
Trials use the word necessary. That's what I'm having trouble with. You said restrictions are necessary. I think restrictions they're not necessary, and that's the problem.
Well, Gloria,
they're-
we're bound by the body. Therefore, we are restricted. It's simple. It's not. I'm not trying to be complicated here.
So you're talking, we are restricted because of a physical body, but how about like Hyacinth was talking about the veil and whether or not we should confront that idea. So shouldn't these folks have the right to use the veil? So, like, if I wanted, why not?
Well, I can tell you a true story that happened in Indonesia, where the Indonesians they're not veiled, and they're Muslim, but they are not veiled. And there was when Erdogan began to say that people should be veiled, because you know that Ataturk had banned veiling and so forth, and women were not. And so there were women who were saying that we are making a statement because we want to be veiled, we choose to be veiled. And these were some from Egypt. The Egyptian ambassador's wife was a beautiful woman, no veil, beautifully made up, and so on. So I think that this is it. This can be a personal choice.
Agreed.
Yeah. Thank you, folks.
Yeah, there's
Maria.
something else that should be a personal choice. I'm sorry to interrupt, Maria, but religion should be a personal choice. Once you're
is.
old enough to understand, you should not be browbeaten into forced into believing whatever it is that the society around you forces you to believe.
Yeah, agree.
But again,
Maria.
we're going into a culture situation.
It's hard to avoid culture when you're human.
Maria.
About freedom in human relationships, and now is relative, because we are in the phase of living Earth spiritually infancy, and as spiritual children, we have relative freedom because we do not know how to use our full freedom, which must be used in favor of fraternity. But we are not able nowadays to do all the things looking for the fraternity in our humanity Earth. Yeah. And I think that we are children, spiritual children, and we need to take many things that obstacle us to do all we want, because
prevent us.
What I want is not good to fraternity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think was Paul. He said that I can do everything I want, but everything I want is not I forgot now, even in Portuguese.
Tudo me é lícito, mas nem tudo me convém.
Yes, it's not convenient. I can do anything, but I can do everything, but not everything is so convenient for me to do. Yeah, exactly. So the answer is, and it is in the question number 826. As soon as two people find each other, they have reciprocal rights and duties to respect and are no longer absolutely free. Because we need to respect each other. So my freedom ends exactly
where mine begins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we take thought for the other one.
Yeah. Leda, please.
There is a saying by Saint Augustine. I've mentioned it here before, but he says, when you love, you can do whatever you want to do. So yes, Giles, there is free will in heaven because of that he says, if you love, you have all the choices. Because love, we used to think that love is just one choice, one thing. But if you love, you find ways. Love opens the ways.
You can go wrong, right?
Yeah, you create new paths because of love, because it shows you new possibilities, actually.
Yeah.
You know, we understand very little about this yet, but we'll learn more and more. And I believe that when you really love, you have more than one choice, because everything that you do is for the good.
The more I study this, the more I'm convinced that what we know about love is really a tip of the iceberg. It's like we do not really know what love is, you know, not the way that I mean, our conception, our definition of love is still too possessive, too related to the physical dimension, I guess. Right? So, Gloria, please.
I won't say I've suffered with this, but I've struggled with this concept of love for so long. And it's being revealed to me why. It's something I'm supposed to work on in this lifetime. But recently I sat in on a Scott Milligan trance, and he brought through Eric, and Eric is an entity who represents a group of entities whose purpose is to educate us. And I ask Eric, and forgive me if I've told you this before and I'm repeating myself, but I said, we're told that God is love. We're told that love is energy. We're told that love is intelligence. Can you give me words to help me to understand what love is? And Eric's response was, and this was perfect for me, a silent knowing. And that works so beautifully for me. In other words, it's not something you know it. It's not you believe in it or there's anything to do, you know it. And that not quiet knowing, silent knowing. In other words, it's embodied for me, that definition. And I love that it couldn't have been better and a better answer for me. And what he actually said was, there are no words. We're
because the words we are limiting, you know, all the words in the universe will not be able to remember. There are some answers from the spirits that they say, you guys do not have words for us to describe, to tell you what that is.
And we get so, as a people, at least in Western society, it's all about this romantic thing. That's not love. Because that comes and goes. But a silent knowing, you've got it. And I love that answer. I really,
it's
wonderful.
Perfect.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for sharing. Very, very nice. Yeah. All right, so the following one I have here, I prepared today. Is there anything in human beings that escape all limitations and of which they enjoy absolute freedom? Say it, Luis. Luis is saving his voice.
Maybe it's in thinking. We are free to think, right? That is a freedom. Other than that, I think it's a little bit limited. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Luis got it. It was right on the spot. They enjoy unbounded freedom in their thoughts, as there is no obstacle to thought. While it may be hindered, thought cannot be extinguished. That's in the
Very
question.
good. Yeah, that figures.
So the following one is freedom of conscience, the natural consequence of freedom of thought.
I don't have to express it, I can think it.
Yeah.
If I express it, I can get into trouble.
Smart lady.
Anna, and nowadays to be conscious needs to think about it, because all of us have conscience. We can think, we can thought, we can choose between the bad or the good. But to be conscient nowadays means to be a spiritual conscience. Where are we from? Where are we going to? What we need to do nowadays to change the society, to change our lives, to do the better things that the earth needs.
Oh, you're talking about responsible consciousness.
I think that to be conscient nowadays is very different, because in the transition of Earth, we need to do many things different things that we always do until today.
Yep, I agree. Yeah. Thanks, Maria. Anybody else? No?
Well, how can I let it go? Who are we talking about here? People who are in their first incarnations as human, or their mid-range as human, or nearly done, so to speak, because each will respond very differently to all of this.
Yeah.
So which one are we which level are we talking about? Let's assume we're all mid-range, tending towards the nearly done department. That's what I like to believe anyway. I find it hard to believe that I'm a beginner at the
most certainly not. As Chico used to say, if you believe in reincarnation, if you believe in an afterlife, it means you're not a beginner.
Right. Well,
but you don't know. But you don't know at what stage you are.
No, I know I don't know what stage I'm at, but I like to think I'm in. You just heard me. I said I like to think I'm in the mid-range, tending towards the nearly done. That's what I like to think. Now, what do you think you are? Hyacinth.
No, but I mean, I have no idea. I know I've been here before. I have no idea how many times or what I have done.
Okay, well, I can tell you you're in the mid-range, tending towards the nearly done. Otherwise, you wouldn't attend such a meeting or even talk about philosophy and spirituality, because the beginners are not interested in that. And you're not doing themselves or yourself any good when you try and bang things into their heads. That's my
So-
opinion anyway. Sorry.
Thank you, Giles. So the answer is freedom conscious, the natural consequence of freedom of thoughts. And the answer is the conscious is an inner thought that belongs to the individual, like all the other thoughts entertained by that person.
Yes, this is very fine, but we are given to understand that we can sin in thought, word, and deed.
Mhm.
This is what we are given to understand. So controlling our thoughts is the first barrier or challenge, if you like. Controlling our words is the second barrier or challenge, and controlling our deeds is the third. And each one carries more weight than the next, in my opinion. I think that thoughts, which are, as long as they're not expressed, carry little weight, but they still carry weight. Because if you think bad thoughts all the time, you're not doing yourself any good or anybody
Yeah.
around you.
Absolutely.
And then
yes.
words, of course, we know about that. I don't have to even elaborate. It's the next one up, and then deeds are the final thing. If your deeds are good, then the deeds are good, and they may not work out to be good. You think they're good, you try to do good, but then maybe you do it wrong because you don't know any better. But that's what life's for.
Mhm. Thank you, Giles. Maria.
Many of us were deported from the other worlds thousands of years ago. And
Mhm.
many of those exiled may be exiled again because we or they do not accept God's laws. Meanwhile, many younger spirits, natural of the earth, accept these laws and have their evolution more
Accept. You said many.
accept the God's law and have their evolution more aligned.
Aligned.
That those are believing in reincarnation. Many people that believe in reincarnation, that believes in the life of
Afterlife.
afterlife, can do many things that is not good, but they believe, but they can't resist to our tendencies and the things that they like very much.
I see.
It's very interesting
The
because
vices. Yeah, they cannot resist the vices. Yeah.
yes, then we have many spirits that begin to our evolution with the exiled people that are better than us nowadays and don't believe in reincarnation, don't believe in life after life, and they are good people.
It's like Giles says, one doesn't fit all, right? So sometimes we have people that doesn't even believe in God, but is out there doing something good for the neighbor or somebody else. Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Luis, Olivia.
In fact, it's me. I also remember that in spiritual realm, we don't have the same freedom thoughts because our thoughts, it's like action. We can go through someone and
That's a good point, yes.
yeah, maybe there we have to take care a little bit more about our thoughts.
We have to
Like
be
our
very
actions
careful.
here.
The
Yes.
same, yeah, that's a very good point, because the same way
Yes.
that we have to be careful with our words,
Yeah.
on the other side, we have to be very careful with their thoughts.
Yes, that like Giles said, we have to train in everything.
Just like spiritist meetings with good mediums. You cannot fake. If you're talking to a spirit that is in hatred and he doesn't see that your heart is being sincere, he's going to say that. He's going to say, look, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me because you're a fake guy, or you're not being sincere on what you're speaking and not being on the level. So it's a very good place for you to know yourself and at the same time to correct the line of thoughts and feelings that you have been feeling. Very good.
Amazing.
I don't know if you remember in the book Astro Series. I don't know if there is in the movie, but there are a daughter that she's having bad thoughts. She's angry, and she can't go to eat at the table with the family because her thoughts would
Oh,
disturb,
yeah, I remember.
contaminate the food. Yeah,
Exactly. Yes, I
in
remember.
a spiritual realm near Earth, in a low spiritual realm. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, before Gloria talks, you said something that is true. I remember that scene when the lady didn't participate in a dinner. She was not in a dinner table because of her feelings. And for that specific reason, if I'm not feeling well, for some reason, don't ask me. I just knew about that once I started reading the Spiritist book. But if I was not feeling well, I was not cooking for my family. Somehow I knew that. One day, just one day, when I prepared it was lunchtime. I prepared the lunch, and then I was doing salad. It was a salad. And something happened, and all of a sudden I felt like that angry because I was really upset with, I don't even remember what happened, but I remember the consequence. I was just putting the salad together, lettuce, etc., etc. And then I served the lunch. Guys, we all were stomach sick.
Oh,
That was so it is that important. And so recently, like not the past Saturday, but the other Saturday, we cooked meal for the homeless people again. And one thing that we do every time, well, I do before I start cooking, I asked the day before for the spirits to be with me, to cleanse me, whatever, I don't want to contaminate the food from the energetic point of view. I don't want to contaminate the food. Is the opposite. I want to be a channel, for whatever they want to put in that in the meal. So, and as I started cooking, then I asked them to bless that food, to, put their energy, not only for the body, but for the soul, for whatever the recipient will need. And before the meal is delivered, as the meal is leaving the house, we pray, and then we put a hands-on healing. We do a hands-on healing in the food, so in the meals. So this past and this day, the last day that we the lady, I'm not the one giving the meal. There is a lady. She goes. She knows where those folks are, and this time she said that it was something so amazing because giving the feedback she was receiving from them, all the smiles, all the gratitude, etc., etc. And all of a sudden she stopped by 3 ladies, because she said, Anna, it was a lot of food you prepared. It was like, it took me the whole afternoon to deliver the whole thing. So she said she stopped by 3 ladies, and she was asking, where else she could find people, in need for the meal. And then the lady said that they would accept some. And then she gave the food, and the ladies, they were so happy. They were crying So they said, finally, they said that they were there in that store because they were searching for food in a trash can. So that's the kind of thing that, you know, that happens when you pray over the food, I guess, and the opposite, if you don't pay attention, if you're not responsible as you prepare the meal. Sorry, Gloria, it took me a long time to explain that. Sorry.
Actually, you just made my point. It works better for me if this says, instead of conscience, intention.
Mm-hmm.
The intention is an inner thought that belongs to the individual, like all other thoughts entertained by that person. I was struggling with the word conscience
Gotcha.
because
I like that.
intention was for the food to be a blessing. And so the food was a blessing. When you didn't have that intention and you were filled with anger, the food produced what you were feeling.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, what we forget is how powerful our intentions and our feeling are here in this physical world. And even more so probably on the other side. And I don't know, but I'm assuming, yeah. So
Gloria, you're making a very good assumption, and I think you're absolutely right. And that's a very clever remark. And you occasionally come up with these things. No, not occasionally, quite often.
Quite often.
And so let me congratulate you. That is so correct and apt, and we've all missed it.
Yeah.
Well, I missed it. Maybe Hyacinth didn't.
we miss you, Giles.
We've missed you. You've been around for some weeks, and
Yes,
I asked,
Giles.
where is Giles?
That's right. We've all been asking.
Yes.
Where is Giles? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think on the other side, our intentions are obvious. They're visible.
Exactly.
It's a knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's probably not whether you show up as glowing or flat or whatever, but it's transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't fool them.
Exactly. Yes.
And furthermore, you're quite right, because if your intention is good, you may do something that causes harm. But as long as your intention is good, then where's the penalty? Where's the problem? Well, that's of course what sorry, I'm laughing because that's what so many religious people on this planet are busy doing. Their intentions are to force their religion on others for their own good. And then that doesn't really work out very well, does it? Anyway, so that's what karma and multiple incarnations are for, so we can get it all worked out.
All right. So the following one is, should we allow the spread of pernicious doctrines out of respect for the freedom of conscience? Should we instead try to bring those who are led astray by false principles back to the right path without violating that freedom? That's Giles.
That's actually impossible, because once let's say maturity is reached, then pretty much the personality is set in stone, and the thoughts and ideas and understandings, I won't call them prejudices, delete that word, are set in stone, and they will not change. And that's what incarnation is for, because the memory wipe at birth allows a new set of thoughts and prejudices to be instilled in that person. And that person has much to do with what they allow in. But then again, we're talking about, where are we talking about? Beginners or mid-range or later on? If it's the nearly done people, well, then they don't need much help. But the beginners certainly do. And no, we should not try to bring those who are led astray by false principles back to the right path. We can show by our own deeds that, but not force anything upon them. That's the function of
Yes.
religion, to force things on people, and look where that gets us. Oh, and the one thing I heard recently, or I saw on the internet, which I liked very much, it said, one person says to the other, "Where is everybody?" "Oh, they all went to heaven. There was the rapture," and they went. And so what's the result? Peace on earth.
Oh, funny. Okay. Okay, so anybody else? I will read the answer then. The answer is most certainly you not only may, and again, the question is, should we allow the spread of pernicious doctrines out of respect for the freedom of conscience? Most certainly you not only may, but should do so, but only by following the example of Jesus, by employing gentleness and persuasion, and not by resorting to force, which would be worse than the false belief of those whom you desire to convince. Conviction cannot be imposed by violence, of course.
Yes, it would be lovely that the religions of the world would understand that last one.
Let me say this. Let me rephrase what he did. The religious men, mistaken men, because yeah, human nature. So today, let me close this, because now what yeah, so this is the last sentence for 872. It's very long. I will not read all of it, but I would like a volunteer to read this first paragraph, because it has a lot to do with everything that we just discussed. Okay, Gloria, please.
872. We may summarize the question of free will as follows. Human beings are not inevitably led into evil. Their acts are not predestined, and the crimes they commit are not the result of any sort of destiny. They may have chosen as a trial and form of repentance a life in which they will be tempted to do wrong, either because of the surroundings in which they are placed or through circumstances that occur. But they always have their free will in determining their actions. Spirits, therefore, exercise free will in the spirit life by choosing their next life and trials to complete, and human beings exercise free will by leveraging their power of yielding to or resisting the temptations to which they have voluntarily subjected themselves. The purpose of education is to fight these wicked propensities, a duty that will only be able to fulfill thoroughly. It is based on a deeper and truer knowledge of the moral nature of human beings. By knowing the laws governing the moral nature of humankind, we can modify it as we already modify intelligence by education and physical health by hygiene. Wow.
I love this. When you in the first question, Gloria, when you mentioned, well, I've been gifted, I've been, I was born in this family and I have education. I said, immediately I thought, oh my goodness, this is exactly, education. But no, education, exactly how it says it over here, by knowing the laws governing the moral nature of humankind, we can modify it. So paying attention to what exactly matters. Sometimes we have seen so many people with a huge knowledge about so many things, but missing the very important ones that eventually will lead for transformation. will help us with the transformation. Gloria, would you continue, please?
Okay. Every spirit chooses its future physical life according to its degree of purification at the time they are wandering and free from matter. The spirit is free to make this choice, as we have previously pointed out, based on its free will. This free will is not lost through incarnation. If an incarnate spirit yields to the influence of matter, it succumbs in the trials it has chosen for itself. However, the spirit can call out for God's guidance and the support of good spirits for strength and assistance.
So as we saw that and we read and we discussed, can we really point to anybody involved in all those decisions about war and things like this?
I am the Israelis and the Palestinians. I am Hamas and everything else. It all lives in me as a human being. And I can love the human being and reject the behavior.
That's exactly, you nailed. Oh my goodness.
I'll go get my hammer.
You nailed. That's exactly. We can love the human being, but sometimes the behaviors are not so.
The mama in me wants to slap their behinds.
Yep. Okay, so let's continue.
Okay, without free will, there would be neither guilt in doing wrong nor merit in doing right. This concept is so well recognized that the world always assigns blame or praise of any deed to the intention. There's that word. That is the will of the person committing the act, with will simply being another word for freedom. People could not blame their wrongs on their bodies without abandoning their reason and condition as human beings, which would place them on the same level as wild animals. If they could do so with regard to what is wrong, they would have to do the same for what is right. Whenever individuals do right, they claim this merit and would never think of attributing it to their bodies, which proves that they instinctively refuse to renounce the most remarkable privilege of their species, the freedom of thought.
Any comment on that, folks?
I just want to give you, I've done it before, my favorite Byron Katie quote when she was asked, "Are you ever unhappy? Are you ever angry? Are you ever upset?" And her response was, "Only when I believe what I'm thinking."
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would I be unhappy when I'm thinking something that's positive and not okay?
No, they were saying to her, when are you? When are you unhappy? When are you upset? When are you angry? And she said, when I believe what I'm thinking. And they couldn't believe, because she teaches people to look at what they're thinking and what their beliefs are as the cause of their upset. That's her thing.
Yep.
But if she's unhappy when she believes what she's thinking.
Because usually it's something screwy, something messed up. It's human nature.
Oh, she's thinking about something. Okay.
Yeah, they're saying to her, are you ever unhappy? She said, only when I believe what I'm thinking. In other words, if I'm thinking, oh, my neighbor's a nasty guy, then she's upset at her neighbor.
Okay, she's always thinking negatively. This is what I mean.
No, she's not. And that's what they're saying. She's never unhappy because she knows to challenge her thoughts.
All right. So, okay. So, Gloria, can we? Okay. This.
I'm getting vertigo here. What are you doing?
Okay. Right. No, the last one.
Okay. All incarnate spirits, that's us, whether good or bad, make up the human race. As our planet is one of the most backward worlds in the universe, there are more bad spirits than good spirits, and perversity is widespread. We must do our utmost not to have to return to this world after our present sojourn and to deserve admission to a higher world, one of those privileged worlds where goodness reigns and where, once we get there, our time in this lower world will only be a brief, vague memory. And I say that all the time. Oh, please don't let me do a number 2 again.
But there is a very known spirit in his highly considered spirit in Brazil, and his name is Dr. Adolfo Bezerra de Menezes. He is, and Luis Livia, all the Brazilians will know him very well. And he said, actually, it was a message that he sent through a medium talking about Mother Teresa of Calcutta. He said that one week after she was 1 week after her transition, she was looking for something to do and already, and then they told her, you just arrived, it's been 1 week only after your transition, so why are you so eager to do something? Why don't you take a moment, take a rest, do something, recover? And she said, no, I'm totally fine. I cannot spare a single minute. I'm feeling well and I'm ready. So they said, okay, if you feel you are in good shape enough, you choose wherever you want to do. They thought about her doing something in the astral city, whatever they were. And they said, you have done so many good things on earth. So you have the privilege, you earned this privilege to choose what to do, where you go, and where to work. So just, you've seen the departments, all the places over here, you pick whatever you want to do, to go and work. So immediately she picked the place or the zone that nobody wants to work. She chose to work with the suicidal spirits. So it's very hard work. It's very demanding, but precisely because there's not a whole lot of people, how can I say, prepared or qualified. She picked that one, So that's a higher being, what they do. And same way, this guy, Adolfo Bezerra de Menezes, he, in his past, as a doctor, he has done so many things, so good things, that he earned the right to move to an upper world. And Chico Xavier, he told this story that 50 years, something like this, after his transition, there was a celebration in the astral city, and he received this communication saying that he earned the right to choose whatever, an upper world for him to reincarnate in that other place. And then he begged, please, I want to be here. I want to, yes, when time is right, that's okay for me to reincarnate. But for the time being, while we still have so many people suffering on earth, I want to be here. I want to work with them and for them. So that's, I know, it's just kind of, but you know, that's again their conception, their concept of love is different. They love, right?
Having met you in person, Anna, I can safely say that what I said to you on the Zoom is absolutely true. You look about 1 year older than your oldest son. And if anybody ever asks you how that comes to be, you say, it's a mystery.
Yeah. So any other comment? Thank you, Giles.
Ana,
Mhm.
Dr. Bezerra de Menezes died in 1900. How I can say it in English?
1900. He
And
died.
He asked to stay on Earth working for us for 3,000 years.
Oh
And
wow! I didn't know that.
1,000.
Gloria is this.
Yes, and we have passed only 100 years, and
After he died. Yeah.
yes, he will stay with us for 2,000 years.
I'm glad because
us.
we need that.
Yes, we need.
Well, this is good and not so good news. It's good news because that means we'll have protection. And not so good news because it seems like we'll be stubborn for a while.
No, we are staying.
Okay, I have a question for everybody. Is it necessary to reincarnate, or do we have free will about reincarnation? Are we able to delay or pause it or even go to a different planet? What's everybody's opinion on that?
Well, I'd like to begin. This is a very important question you're posing, Giles, because as far as I could understand, it depends on the spirit. There are spirits that are in such need of reincarnation that they do reincarnate without even knowing that they are reincarnating. They are called compulsory reincarnations. But when you grow up as a spirit, maturity, you can start choosing and planning ways to come here in different ways, different times, you know. For example, in cities like Astral City, they can plan, for example, oh, I have a debt with that person and it hurts me, so I think I should reincarnate next to that person, near that person, so that I can help her or him in that way, this and so on. And this, in this way, you go with cleaning and making one reincarnation very invaluable comparing to the other, what they call the come and go, right? Go and come, go and come, go and come, but you don't evolve so much. So I think conscious awareness is something very important for you to do this. And because some spirits, they make mistake of not wanting to reincarnate because they want to be more spiritual, but what they're doing sometimes is becoming more dependent on the flesh, because there are some problems that you can only solve by reincarnating, you know. So the higher spirits, they ask you to not linger so much your stay in the spiritual realms if you still have problems to solve here, right? But that's it. You have some free will, indeed, in my opinion, to extend, to shorten the period.
So, Luis, would you please clarify that? So you said the longer you wait for your
Yes,
next
because
reincarnation, the more
example, yeah,
dependent on
because of the religions of some spiritualist religions, some villages of spirits, some astral cities, people may believe that no, we need to stay here, we don't need to reincarnate.
Mm,
Let's stay here because I want the spiritual world, I want to be more spiritual.
mm,
But this demands a lot of self-knowledge to understand if you really can or not stay for long in the spiritual realm. If this is going to be usually effective, really effective on the spiritual evolution of the individual. Because I'll give you an example. That couple in Astral City that is starting having memories 300 years before. And the memories were very shocking. And after they got those memories from the past lives, they came to conclusion that they needed to reincarnate immediately, right? If they hadn't had that kind of therapy in Astral City, they could have deluded themselves by coming to the conclusion that they didn't need to reincarnate for long. So it's a very key and important question this one Giles made, right?
Yep. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leda.
Just adding to what Luis said, in the André Luiz's books, Astro City and so on, they tell us about this, that the spirits of a certain level, they're not obliged to reincarnate, but they start getting uncomfortable in the places where they are, and they want to go higher and they can't because there's something that's keeping them back. And when they have this memories from previous lives, sometimes they are natural, sometimes they don't come naturally, they have to go under a treatment to have those. And then they find out that there are some steps that they need to take, and the only way that they can solve it is through reincarnation. So there is an example of this two friends, another example, right, of these two friends that they were terrific helpers, instructors. They knew everything about the spiritual realms. They were charitable. They were wonderful spirits, but they couldn't go higher in the evolutional path. And they went through this treatment for the past lives, previous lives, and they discovered that they have killed 300 years ago. They couldn't go further than 300 years ago, I guess, something like that. And they discovered that they killed people. I don't know, 2 people, 3 people. I don't remember the number, by pushing them in a cliff, in a very high cliff. And they had to go through the same experience. Otherwise, they wouldn't. I'm not saying that this is for all the cases, but in their case, it was suggested that they would go through the same experience. And then they chose to reincarnate and die of a plane accident, because then they had this opportunity to choose. It's not for everybody, but as they were charitable and wonderful spirits and with a lot of accomplishments, they could choose, and they chose to die on a plane accident, because this way they would help humanity and help science to grow and to understand more. So sometimes in the books by André Luiz, they are always telling about these cases.
Yeah,
We are living here nowadays on Earth the consequence of a limitation in the freedom of reincarnation, because the higher spirits came to some groups, some astral cities, and said, now guys, you have to go.
That's true.
Oh, but we know
We have a
we want to keep partying here. No, you have to go. It's
Yeah.
a last chance for many of you to stay on this planet, so you have to go. And
Pre-
everybody's here now, right?
Precisely. The other day, talking in the Spiritist Center with some folks, that there were some people complaining about all the bad things happening right now, and said, "How come we are at the verge of, regeneration world, to become a regeneration world, if we have so many bad stuff?" And then I mentioned exactly that. I said, we have a lot of compulsory reincarnations, meaning all kind of spirits living, from, you can imagine the range or the span, how wide the span is, of very nice people and not so very nice people. It's quite a challenge.
Anna, you're reminding me of many psychological studies which have shown that in any group of 100 people, there are 5% who will do good things and help the community, and there are 5% who are selfish and will do nasty things and to the community. But the vast bulk of people, 90, are good and want to be honest. But those studies show that these two groups emerge or are available in any group of people. So you pick 50 people that you think are good, but no, 5 of them are going to be bad. And sorry, 100, or pick 100 people, and it's 5 good and 5 bad, and the main bulk good.
All right, guys, that's what it is. That's our reality today, and it's 4:17 here in Houston. I really appreciate meeting you all and talking today.
Nice to see you
Who
again,
is
people.
Nora?
Thank you, Anna.
Who is Nora?
Yes.
She's been here. Where have you been?
No. I know that she's been here all the time, but I hadn't seen her last week.
Well, I wasn't sure